How good is Anime Teio for the Sagittarius Cup? Well, she's kind of in an awkward position. She has some strengths and she has some weaknesses, but it depends on how you want to play her. Now, her stat growths are okay. 10% speed, 10% stamina, 10% guts. Guts, not too relevant here. So there is a little bit of flexibility depending on the strength of your deck, which we'll get into in a little bit. But she's mainly ran as a pace chaser, but she can be run as a late surger, and let's talk about that. Now, as a pace chaser, she gets access to race planner if you raise her potential a little bit. As a late surger, obviously she does not get access to race planner because it does not work for late surgers. But then she'll need less stamina, and then you can always bring Super Creek as a stamina card for Swing and Maestro if you really want a gold recovery. Now, the reason why she's in an awkward place is because pace chasers are just in a bad position during the Sagittarius Cup. They can make it work, but it's not that strong. And that's for every pace chaser. So if you put her as a late surger, she does get a little bit more strength because she gets access to 2 different accelerations, but she also gets more access to easing her ult as a possibility. And the reason why is her ult is essentially a catch-up mechanic, whereas a pace chaser during this scenario, during the CM, if you're a pace chaser, you're probably going to be in the front of the pack at the final spurt, and you're probably not going to be catching up to anything. At least ideally, you shouldn't be catching up to anything. Now, if you want to make it work as a pace chaser, you're going to either need more pace chasers, or you're going to need to add some front runners for you to catch up to and overtake and hit no stopping me. But essentially, through my testing, her ult does not proc very often as a pace chaser. Now, as a late surger, she will proc her ult more often, but then she does rely on getting in 6th or 5th place for those ult to proc. And then she does require no stopping me just like everyone else. But it is seemingly stronger through my testing as of now as a late surger. But they're both probably pretty equal in the grand scheme of things. You don't need to rely on your ult, but then you're just kind of running her as a favorite as opposed to relying on her ult to actually do something, which is fine. Now, if you do run her as a late surger, you're probably going to inherit Ryan's and Medrodober's ult, unique. And that is because those are the only accelerations that really do anything this CM, besides no stopping me. So you can take all 3, gamble on all of them, and be all right. Late surgers are in a weird position during the CM because there's so many backliners that sometimes late surgers will be thrown into 2nd place and 1st place. So it's a weird CM. It's a long CM, so they're all like that. As a pace chaser, I have found success with Daiwa Scarlet and Angling and Scheming as your main uniques to inherit. You can also take Shadow Break, but once again, you're probably gonna need some front runners on your team to overtake. And then by then, the overtaking may be a little bit too early for Shadow Break to actually proc on the final corner, but it's a possibility and it can help. Now, with building her, you can get a little bit flexible due to the 10% stat growth and the 10% stamina growth. 3 speed cards or 2 speed cards is recommended, but it depends on the strength of your speed cards. 3 speed cards, I find myself very easily getting max speed. 2 speed cards, I can get max speed, but it does require a lot more wit bursts. So I would only do it if you're going to go 0 stam cards and 2 wit or 3 wit in addition to it. Now, if you're relying on her own inherit from Race Planner, you can use just any stamina card and a wit card and you'll be okay. And this is a very easy deck. You can use a power card, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but you can do it. It depends on your play style. Since she has her own gold already built in, you can be pretty flexible with the deck, depending on how strong you are at getting enough stamina. Now, if you are running a late surger and you are either looking for a gold recovery, pretty much Swing and Maestro is the only one to bring, so you're gonna need to bring a Super Creek. Now, you don't need a gold recovery, but you're going to need a lot more stamina. So it's just easier to bring a Super Creek and then go from there. Now, Anime Teio needs all the same skills that everyone else is going to need, but depending on if you are a late surger or a pace chaser, you're still gonna need the long straights and the long corners. Straightaways seem to be pretty important for this CM, just because there's 2 long straights, especially before the acceleration zone. You can get straightaway at depth, playtime's over, tail held high, a lot of those mid-game skills. No stopping me is also highly recommended, even if you are a late surger. And that's, I mean, it's a long CM, so there's not too much that you can do. It's on is also pretty good to get you in a position, but the difficulty with overtake skills is they can also put you out of position, but that's why you take no stopping me and you'll be in a comfortable spot. So in conclusion, as my testing goes so far, I would run her as a late surger rather than a pace chaser, but I have not tested many pace chaser front runner combos, so I'm still going to test that out. If you've tested it out, let me know in the comments. I do think she is okay, but pretty much every Uma in a long CM is okay, aside from Gold Ship or any other end closers. They're the strongest, and that's just the reality of it. So she's good. I would run her as a late surger as opposed to a pace chaser, just so her ult actually does something. And that's my recommendation.